There are any wholesalers right now who are not tapping into the novation strategy, you are leaving so much money on the table. We close novations. We're very familiar and comfortable with them. I find that that's very hard for wholesalers to find is a title company that can close those types of deals. We can do that, no problem.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I am your host, Q Edmonds. And you know what I'm going to say? I'm excited to be here, excited about my guests, excited about the value they're about to bring to the conversation. It's always a pleasure and a privilege when I get to talk to different people and to get to see things from their perspective. And this is going to be no different. And so I am super excited to introduce you guys to Miss Dani Hernandez. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much. I'm doing wonderful.
Absolutely, absolutely. So glad, so excited to do this podcast with you. Excited for our listeners because listening to you talk, have a wealth of knowledge, very clear about what your business has to offer to this space. And so I'm gonna be honest with you, Miss Dani. I kind of just want to dive in. I want you to take us into your world, right? Tell us what things you're mainly focused on. If you want to tell us a little bit of how you got started, I would love to hear that. But then also tell them what market you're operating in as well.
Okay, perfect. I started out in real estate about 5 years ago. It's pretty common. Everyone started finding out about, investing and all this stuff during the pandemic. I'm one of those. I fell victim to the, real estate by pandemic boredom. And so it was honestly one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. I started out doing some wholesaling, then I did a couple of flips. And then from there, I dabbled into, the creative types of transactions. So Sub2s, novations, all of it. I'm curious. I like to just try stuff and see if I like it. And if I do, I continue doing them. If I don't, I just say, well, that wasn't for me. And so it led me into an opportunity to join Stellar Title Company, which is an investment friendly title company all over Texas. And it's wonderful because the owner is very open minded to the creative types of transactions, whereas, the more larger title companies are more regulated and, not so open-minded, and their underwriters are a little more strict. Whereas here we get to tap into the creativity of real estate. And I think that's what's wonderful. And that's what really drew me in to being here.
Absolutely. I love it. So you here, you're doing real estate, things are moving, things are rolling along. And I guess my question would be, it's not always easy in this climate where we're in with things changing. Like, what's been the key to keeping you guys actually running smoothly, like keeping your eyes on the prize? Like, what systems do you have in place? Like, what makes the engine run?
Well, first and foremost, it's the vision of the owner, Crystal. She is clear set on her vision and very, very strategic in how she executes. Our process here is very, very efficient, and everyone here is definitely on their A game. She comes from being escrow for many years and is very experienced in closing all types of different transactions.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And she's found a way to make things efficient and has taught the team to be that way as well. So one of the biggest things that she prides herself on is like communication, communication, communication. No email goes left undone for the sundown method. And so even if it's just a quick, I'm not sure, let me get back to you, every email needs to get addressed. And that's really, really important being in the title industry. If we're getting phone calls all day long, we're not doing our job, because most of the time people call, it's because, hey, what's going on with this, or they just don't know, they're looking for an update. So one thing that she's implemented that's been really helpful for us is just being proactive and providing updates and responding to emails and not leaving people wondering. And yes, it's difficult. Like, you have to be a very high functioning multitasker to be able to do that because the volume is so massive. But everyone gets their response, whether it be the answer that they were needing or, hey, let me look into this for you. And that really sets us apart. And that's common feedback that I've gotten from a lot of our clients as well. But again, that was a calculated move on her behalf as far as like implementing that into our expectations from Stellar. The biggest thing that is important to us is communication.
I love it. Communication is key, and I say it all the time. We communicate, and I know you talk about emails but I know with dealing with your owner, sometimes there's in-person communication, and I tell
Yes.
people all the time, communication works in three ways: 55, 38, 7. I say that's the percentage. 55% of communication is our body language, is what we're doing with our hands and with from wide eye when you say something. 38% is actually the tone that we use, if it's a harsh tone, if it's a soft tone. And then the last percentage is actually the words that we say. So communication is so key when we're talking to our partners, when we're talking to our clients. And so I'm so glad that you guys are thriving based on communication, because you're absolutely right. Communication is everything. And so I want to ask you this, so there's always a point I like to get to in the podcast, because a lot of times we talk about the success, but we don't talk about the process and the journey to success. And so I know, there's times that moments get real, deals go sideways, times you have to pivot fast. And I was wondering if you could share a moment like that through your experience, through your lens, because I tell people all the time that's watching, I don't care where you are in your journey, you will get adversity, but it's how do we respond to adversity? So I would love if maybe you could share a moment like that.
Yeah, of course. So obviously being, title company, we're in the industry of insurance, right? And so number one thing that insurance companies don't want is claims. And so a big thing for us is making sure that we do things correctly, crossing all of our T's, dotting all of our I's to minimize claims. The other thing too is that the owner is really wonderful about just being, again, open communication. And if there is a problem, let's see how we can fix it. Let's see if we can find the source of where something might have just, fallen through the cracks, whether it be something on our end or another end. We're going to look into it. And our goal is to try to find a resolve before we get to a claim. And that's something that's very important to Stellar Title Company. So yeah, of course, there's times where deals go south, but that's inevitable. We're human with human error. What matters more is how are you going to find a solution for that problem? Are you willing to take responsibility and say, look, let me look into this. Let me find a solution, instead of saying, oh, well, that's not my problem, or, oh, that wasn't me. I don't know. I can't help you. people lack accountability in all industries, and, that's hurt lots of businesses in the past, and I don't know if that's something that was ever, um, an issue here. However, I do know that she is very, very adamant on taking accountability and finding a solution, even if it's something that was not our direct fault or a direct result of our work.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Because I mean, in order to be successful, you have to solve problems.
Yeah. No, I love it. It sounds like y'all have a great leader. It sounds like your business is awesome because I keep hearing you throw words out like communication. Even you do all the word ethical, honesty, accountability. So it sounds to me that this business is solid with the core values that really makes you trustworthy, right? That makes people want to really be a part and make sure and your clientele feel safe. And so I love everything that I'm hearing about the business for sure. And so Miss Dani, I guess I'll ask you this. What are y'all most focused on solving and scaling next? Like what's the next real goal for the business?
So right now, we are currently in the works of opening a San Antonio branch and a Houston branch. We're based out of Grapevine. We also have an office in Frisco and Frisco. No, sorry, Grapevine, Frisco, Houston, San Antonio. There we go.
Got you.
So it's
Got you.
we're
Got you.
growing, and it's like she's
Yeah.
always has all these new ideas and markets she wants to tap into, and I'm like, okay, which ones are we in? But of course, we close all over Texas, which is amazing. Um, And so right now the focus is just growth. Absolutely. And what's going to help us be successful in the growth is like you mentioned those core values. No company is perfect. Everyone can improve, but I feel like as long as you have those core values to lean back on, you have no other option but to be successful. You know what I mean? Because that's like the root and the heart of the company. And so if it's healthy and positive and ethical, how can you fail?
That's almost a drop mic moment right there. Like I love that. Like you're right. How can you fail when you got those core values to build on? When that's
Yes.
the foundation, I'm with
Yes.
you. How can you fail? And so I love it. I love what I'm hearing. I love the fact that you're scaling, want to scale around Texas. I mean, I listen. I see y'all possibly dominating the market. I see the market takeover coming very very shortly, and so I
Very
love it.
shortly,
I
yeah.
love yeah, I love it. I love what I'm hearing, and I love how you give so much kudos to the owner. I love how just I can hear the core values coming out of the business, and so to me it lets me know that you guys value relationships. And I
For
guess that's what I want to talk about for a little bit about your perspective on when it comes to building relationships. So when it comes to building relationships and growing your network, what's made the biggest difference for you for your company?
So the biggest difference for me, and I haven't been in this position for very long. It was as amazing opportunity that came to me pretty recently. So I'm definitely in new waters and new territory, but it's also very familiar to me. Because the first thing that I do, no matter who I meet, is I always look for a way of how can I add value. A lot of times, conversations at networking events or for business development is very like, oh well, send me your stuff, send me your stuff. What can me, 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 and that's never been my mentality or my mindset. So every single time I meet someone, my mind is racing, trying to figure out like how can we collaborate? What problems do they have that I can solve? How can I add value to them and set myself apart from everyone else who's just looking to constantly take, 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 take? And from there, we have a mutual relationship from the beginning to where that like if I ever need anything, I can call her. She's got a lot of resources. And I know in vice versa, if I call and say, "Hey, I'm really looking forward to taking care of a file of yours," people aren't going to just say like, "Oh yeah, I'll send it," and then never send it. You know what I mean? And that I think is the big difference in what I do and how I cultivate my relationships is I'm always looking at how can I add value.
Mm. Now you talking my language. I think I have a similar outlook. Is how can I add value, right? I tell people all the time, I'm a connector.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I try to
Yes.
connect people together, connect processes together. Like, I may not be as strong at developing something, but one thing I am good at is making sure I connect you with the right person that can
Yeah,
get the job done.
absolutely.
And I love Danny. I love the outlook about you. And I see that from from job. People don't know our backstage process, but she's like, listen. I like to ask questions too. Like, you ain't gonna be the only one asking questions. I got some questions I want to ask too. And it just and when you're a curious person, that lets me know you are a person that's a connector, right? Because you're
Absolutely.
curious about you, other people, what's the process, how can there be a synergy, how there can be a confluence. And so I love it. And I guess since we're right here, when I talk to somebody like you that has the perspective that you have, I like to open the floor up to see if, like, is there any kind of encouragement or maybe even education or inspiration that maybe you want to give to the audience, our viewers, from your perspective about what you do and about like the life and business kind of meld together or whatever. So I just want to open up the floor, like if there's any kind of encouragement that you wanted to give. Yeah.
Yeah. No, first and foremost, yeah, of course. This is the juicy part for me. This is what, this is what I love. I love talking about Stellar and how great we are and, all those things. But to me, I'm ready for the conversations where I come and add value. And so I would say, for the listeners, whether you're an investor or a realtor or an buyer or investor, wholesaler, that you always educate, like self-educate and try to find new ways and I studying the market is okay, isn't important, but I mean the market is only one of two things. It's either a buyer's market or a seller's market. And the things that influence that is usually the rates and days on market and things like that. And so just coming up and not being afraid to try the new strategies that are out there, because I've seen that the people that stay stuck in just one way, don't make it very long. Like you have to be willing to adapt and change and pivot. And so there are any wholesalers right now who are not tapping into the novation strategy, you are leaving so much money on the table. We close novations. We're very familiar and comfortable with them. I find that that's very hard for wholesalers to find as a title company that can close those types of deals. We can do that, no problem. Whether you close with us or you don't, if you need to start tapping into those novations and they're wonderful. So basically what a novation is, for those of you who don't know, it's basically like a hybrid between a wholesale and a retail. And it's perfect. So people overcomplicate, wholesaling and understanding like numbers and stuff. I've made it very simple because I've talked about this over and over and over. If you have a home that's like 1990 and older, that's gonna be a cash deal. It's gonna be a wholesale. You're gonna run your formula ARV 70% minus your rehab, minus your wholesale fee or whatever. But anything outside of that, so like 1990 to about 2015 is perfect for the novation because they don't qualify for a cash offer because they're just, the seller is either or it's just not distressed enough to where you can come in at a cash price to force appreciation and, take it to that ARV. So when you're looking at novations, you're looking at as is value. And it's really incredible because that's a majority of the leads that people pass up. So they're either going from one end of the spectrum to the other, which is either a cash offer or a sub 2, and they're leaving this like whole middle ground open of money, which is the novation. And
Now,
it's great because you can get the paperwork that you need, find a realtor that knows how to do these types of transactions, find a title company that knows how to do these transactions. And basically, what you do is you are getting a wholesale and putting it on the market. And the reason you're putting it on the market is because the bones are still good and it'll qualify for financing. So just because it's a little outdated and it's not as modern doesn't mean that, it's not a good deal. And then, of course, anything from like 2015 to current is probably going to be better for a sub 2. Maybe even like 2020 to current because they don't have that much equity. And that's going to be like the best way to analyze. So to me, it's very simple. The minute I see a property, I'm like, what year is it? What's it look like? And I already know the end strategy. You can't, like, one size does not fit all. So the more resources and solutions that you have in your pocket, the more opportunities are out there. And so, like I said, I would love to implore wholesalers to tap into Novations if you haven't already. Realtors, start collaborating with wholesalers because I know that, it's so like, opposite positive. But if you can find a way to just maybe like flip it and find two positives, then, there's again that collaboration and so much beauty can come from that.
Yeah. Well, y'all hear Miss Danny, the connector. She's coming through. Listen, she's connecting the dots, guys. Like she's telling you that. Listen, there's a way we can make this work. Like I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Like you are giving so much value to people, and I'm glad. I'm glad to have you in this position to
Thank you.
give these words of wisdom, the nuggets. And so, listen, Miss Danny, listen, you done dropped the bomb. So listen, if before we wrap, if someone wanted to reach out to you, connect with you, maybe collaborate. I know you use that word, collaborate, or learn more about what you're doing. What's the best way for them to reach you, man?
So the best way to reach me is at my email. It's Danielle@stellartitleco.com. I'm sure that Mr. Q will be putting my contact down below, which is going to be awesome. And yeah, just send me an email. You can send me email, ask me a question. We can connect on a phone call. We can schedule that. I'm at a lot of events all of the time networking. So I try to schedule when people have calls. That way I can give them my full time and attention and I'm, not missing calls or missing meetings or anything like that. So email is the best way to get a hold of me, and I work them every day. Like I said, we have the sundown method. Every email gets answered before the end of the day, whether it be with an exact answer or just, hey, I'm really find this out for you and follow up.
I love it. I love it. Well, there she is. Everyone, Miss Dani Hernandez, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your story, your perspective. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the bombs of nuggets that you dropped.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming through and really adding value to our audience. So again, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much
Uh,
for having me.
Absolutely. And so listen, y'all heard Miss Danny. Y'all heard the nuggets and the value that she give. If you've been following us, you know we just have incredible guests, just like Miss Danny that came on. And so listen, I want you to just make sure you subscribe. You do not want to miss out on these amazing conversations. And so listen, Miss Danny, I thank you one last again. And to everyone else, listen, we're gonna see you on the next time. All right. Y'all have a good one now.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.